Hello and welcome to the channel. The President, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, disclosed to Nigerians in France in a select gathering about his government and his plans for the country, more specifically, when the palliatives he promised will be implemented. Recall that after the removal of fuel subsidy, Tinubu had promised to cushion the effect of the subsequent hardship Nigerians have been subjected to. We will talk in details in a bit. Subscribe, like, share, and comment. Thank you. Fuel subsidy removal. Tinubu reveals when Nigerians will get palliatives. President Bola Tinubu on Friday disclosed that Nigerians would get palliatives following the removal of subsidy on petrol in the country. The president, who gave the assurance while speaking to some Nigerians in France and other neighboring European countries, however, said money has to be saved before the government can embark on palliatives. Explaining how he prevented the organized labor from proceeding with their planned strike action over the fuel subsidy removal, Tinubu disclosed that he had to convince them to reason along and allow the government to save first, or else he would also join them in the protest. He said, "I told them, you want money increase in palliative, transportation. What are you protesting about? Are you sharing part of the subsidy? If you protest, I will join you and protest," and they stopped. No protest. Palliative we will get, but we have to save the money in order to embark on palliatives. Meanwhile, in related news, the federal government has been told to cut the cost of governance to meet the demand of the labor union concerning palliative for the removal of fuel subsidy. This was the position of the president of the Trade Union Congress, TUC, Festus Osifo, when he was featured as a guest on Channels Television's Sunrise Daily on Friday. Osifo appealed to the federal government to prioritize cutting down the cost of governance in the country. The TUC boss was speaking against the backdrop of the labor union's negotiation with the federal government on how to cushion the effect of the fuel subsidy removal by President Bola Tinubu. He said the union is very aware that not all its demands from the government will be met, but it won't lose grip of its negotiation with the government. Osifo, while making reference to one of the campaign promises of the current administration, said in their campaign promised an increase in revenue generation and the growth of the country. He submitted that the government has told us that they are going to save a massive amount of money when the subsidy is removed. So, part of this money should also go to taking care of Nigerians, especially the vulnerable. Crude oil is being sold in dollars. When they were repatriating the money before now, the exchange rate was around 460 naira to a dollar. But today, it is going to be about 700 naira, which means that there will be much more naira available to the government. More importantly is that, as a government, they must be creative. As a government, they must be innovative. They must put on their thinking cap and be able to grow the revenue of the country. We know we cannot get 100% of the demands in the negotiation. We know our minimum set point. If the cost of governance is reduced, they will be able to save some money from that, and if they do all these other things we have said, we believe that funds will be available. The TUC boss said the labor union and federal government will continue the negotiations on June 26 and said it was sure that once all the suggestions are done, there will be more revenue to cater for vulnerable Nigerians. Subscribe, like, share, comment, and please turn the notification bell on. Thank you. Meanwhile, a coalition of over 80 human rights organizations under the aegis of Nigerian Civil Society Situation Room said on Friday that President Bola Tinubu should set up an independent national electoral reform panel to bring credibility to elections in Nigeria. The membership of the reform panel, the coalition said, should comprise independent election experts and stakeholders who would review the logistical, legal, and administrative shortcomings of INEC, as well as make additional reform recommendations. The convener of NCSSR, Malam Yunusa Yau, made the recommendation during a press conference held in Abuja about 2 weeks after his election. According to him, the CSOs were worried about the conduct and credibility of the upcoming off-cycle governorship elections in Bayelsa, Imo, and Kogi states in November 2023, following the shortcomings experienced in the general elections. He said the Nigeria Civil Society Situation Room is following up on its report of the 2023 general elections and is demanding for urgent national electoral reforms to reignite citizens' confidence in Nigeria's electoral process. A post-2023 general election survey recently conducted by the Situation Room has exposed a significant dip in citizens' confidence in INEC. Citizens now query the ability of INEC to conduct credible elections in the country. In the light of upcoming off-cycle governorship elections in Bayelsa, Imo, and Kogi states in November 2023, Situation Room is worried about the credibility of INEC and its ability to conduct free elections in the light of the shortcomings experienced during the general elections of February and March 2023. Given the need for urgent action to be taken regarding INEC, Situation Room is calling for an independent National Electoral Reform Panel to be set up urgently by President Bola Tinubu. Situation Room is not in any way tying its call to the outcome of the 2023 general elections, nor would we consider that this panel represents a question surrounding the results of the 2023 general elections. Nevertheless, Situation Room's call is being made as a national call to help salvage Nigeria's electoral process. The independent panel will need to work freely without interference from the INEC as presently constituted. The membership of the Independent National Electoral Reform Panel should comprise of independent election experts and stakeholders who will review the logistical, legal, and administrative shortcomings of INEC, as well as make additional reform recommendations. The reform panel should also be charged with recommending the implementation of previous electoral reform proposals that have examined the mode of appointment into INEC to remove the recruitment of partisan elements into the commission. In addition, the panel should also recommend needed legal framework and time frame for achieving the establishment of the Electoral Offences Commission, as well as the best, least expensive path to creating and maintaining a credible voter register for the country, amongst other issues. That's the news, guys. Thanks for listening. Until next time, bye.